It's time for Quick Calls with Mike the Ref on the Edmonton Sports Podcast Network.
All right, folks, Mike the Ref here at the Abbey Master Builders Center in the Blackfalds.
The red surprised look on your face. Blackfalds.
Sorry, it's been a busy weekend here, and I'm really shocked at a lot of things that happened here tonight with the CWC tables, ladders, and chairs Canada Cup Finals. As you heard earlier, I am joined by the legend T. James Logan.
Hey, folks, good to see you.
Well, hear you.
I see them. I see dead people.
All righty.
Wrong movie, sorry.
Yeah, okay. I am Groot, but
You're not. You are not Stephen Owaschuk, don't you? You've been hanging out with him too much if you think you're him.
I am Groot. 5 great matches on this card tonight, including a TLC match for the CWC Championship, as well as the finals for the Canada Cup between Chris Parrish and Jack Pride. Mm-hmm. Before we get into the matches, what your overall thoughts on the card now that it just wrapped up?
You know what? The crowd was tremendous. A very big crowd. It was fun. It started off, it really built into a great thing. The Canada Cup finale itself was surprising but really good. And when we'll get to it, the end main event had some serious repercussions for CWC that we'll get into. Absolutely.
Well, leading off this card, you had the man nicknamed Spa by the network here, because let's face it, Skylar Paris Austin, little Vinny's little nephew here, comes out and demands that the Cheetah Bear go up against his new opponent for the $10,000 bounty in the CWC Championship ahead of his main event match here tonight. And out comes the Texas Hangman that we have seen in MPW circles here over the last few months. Following that, Dylan Stone comes out instead of the Cheetah Bear and says, look, you don't get to jump the line. I don't care how much money you have, you got to have a match. Commissioner Gordon agrees, and we got our one-on-one match to start off the card here. Really good match between these two. The Hangman, big, strong, Dylan fast. In the end, Skylar Paris Austin costs another victory for one of his charges, where there was a missed avalanche splash from behind in the corner, got turned around into that diamond knee of Dylan Stone for the 1-2-3. Legend, your thoughts?
Well, you know what? It seems like the stud stable's biggest enemy these days has to be Mr. Austin himself. It seems he's costing his team more than he's actually benefiting them. I mean, I know he pays their money, but it seems his behavior just seems to always get in the way. He's trying too hard, and he costs his guys. You know, the Texas Hangman was a humongously big man. He overpowered Dylan Stone. He had a lot going for him, but once again, any time that you can mess up somebody's momentum, you can seriously cost them the match. And Dylan Stone, well, he did have a lot of good tries during the thing. I would have to say that the Texas Hangman had more of an advantage here, and it was Austin's interference that really flipped the boards for everything. And I think Dylan Stone took advantage of that greatly and won the match, but you still got to wonder, how much can you trust a manager who's going to keep costing you?
Absolutely, and it just goes to prove that you can have a lot of money, but it cannot create victories and accomplishments in your stable, no matter what.
Or by common sense.
Likewise. So moving on to our second match here, it starts out with T.S. Cutler, who ended up losing last month when he teamed up with Lumberjack Larry against a powerhouse team of Dynamic Dean Richter and Cato. He comes out and says, I tried real hard, but I don't have a partner tonight because we lost last show, so I need a new partner. Out comes Psycho Saraya, and all of a sudden she comes out. We're thinking, okay, mixed tag, this is a liberal society here. But she comes out, pie faces him. Gets 2 huge slaps. Like, honestly, every little bit of her frame went into those slaps, and all of a sudden you have Sean Martins and Cato come out and beat the holy crap out of him.
Well, you know what? There is 2 things that made me think of this whole situation. One, felt extremely sad for T.S. Cutler. All he wanted was a friend. That's sad enough that he had to look for a friend. But even sadder and very confusing, you'd pick someone whose first nickname is Psycho. Should tell you that's not a very good choice in the pool of friends to pull from. You know what? He learned a valuable lesson, but as I'm sure you were about to say, Angelica and
Alexander Price
came out and helped him.
Now, this is one of my biggest pops of the night. And Alexander Price comes out with Angelica, and the first thing he says is, "My main squeeze, Angelica."
Interesting.
Just living proof that fat men can get a girl. There is hope for me after all.
There is hope for you. I got it too. So I think there's trouble coming down the pipe.
Yeah, there's certain... I'm having a little bit of a struggle here with trying to keep this under order, but we ended up... Basically, it ended up becoming a match between T.S. Cutler and Alexander Price, Mr. 1 and 77, taking on the team of Sean Martins and Cato, with Angelica and Psycho Saraya in the associated corners.
Definitely a comedy match. Looking at the card, the first half, very comedic. Xander Price doing everything he can to woo the ladies in the crowd. I'm not sure, but it definitely made many of us guys look the other way.
Folks, I'm just going to put it very simply. This is the first time ever that I'm going to have to put a censor sign on a belly.
I think that's the best thing.
Not only because of the actual belly, but because it was so white that it's going to blur out the screen with its brightness. So,
and big, and round, and some weird hair in places.
I didn't want to know about the hair, thanks.
I'm sorry, I glanced. I can't unsee it, folks. I can't unsee it.
But in the end, the streak is starting to become reestablished again with Alexander Price as he ends up eating the loss once again from the team of Martins and Cato.
I've got to say, we could look at it as Xander Price starting a bad streak, but let's look at it the other front. We've got... Oh, hold on a sec here.
Hey, boys.
We have the champ.
We have the champ, Jude Dawkins. How are you feeling?
It's so exciting to be the tag team champions right now.
The tag team champions?
It feels great.
Well, how do you feel you're the tag team champions?
That's in September, sir.
What happened after I grabbed that belt?
You won your match, and then you got completely obliterated by the stud stable coming out.
Don't trust that Johnny Kickass, man. He tried to shake your hands, then he ambushed you.
Oh, it's going to be a long night, boys.
Wow. We'll get to that here in just a moment, folks, here. But, the end of the tag match, pretty much the way we expected it to be.
Right. What I was trying to say, though, is, we could look at it as Xander Price's maybe eventual decline again. But I think we're looking at an overall picture here. Once again, the stud stable infecting the CWC with their shenanigans, with their underhandedness, with their just despicable play. Once again, they get a victory through not the greatest means.
But at the end of the match, though, after the match was all done, Angelica and Psycho Saraya go at it. And the fans want them to fight. So Commissioner Gordon sanctions a match for later on the show between Angelica and Psycho Saraya.
Now, before we get to talking about that match, I do know it was the final of the Canada Cup tonight. We got to see Jack Pride, one of the heavy favorites, going up against the ever-dangerous Chris Parrish. And once again, I was surprised. Chris Parrish coming out on top and defeating Mr. Jack Pride, and he will now get his own guaranteed title shot anytime that he wants against Jude Dawkins.
And he finished that off with the parachute on apron, the same move that he used to take out Alexander Price in the semifinals. I'm sorry, that is becoming the most lethal move in Alberta wrestling right now because nobody's getting up from it. Okay, I'm going to...
What's that?
I'm going to mention that this is a rematch from what we saw at MPW Road to the Leo Burke Cup here 2 weeks ago in Edmonton, where Jack Pride managed to get the victory on Chris Parrish. But this match, if I was at all critical about the match they had last show, this match was through the charts. These guys pulled out all the stops, and one thing I'm not good at giving Chris Parrish credit.
I know what you're going to say.
I don't give him too much credit. I really don't, because he's got the ego the size of the referee's attempt to screw the Oilers in the playoffs.
Ouch.
So, with that being said, he kicked Skylar Paris-Austin out, which actually makes a little bit of sense based on what happened in the first match tonight.
He probably smartened up and realized this guy was going to cost him a match with interference somewhere.
So it ended up being a true one-on-one match, and these guys tore the house down. The crowd was all over everything in this match. We had a super kick from the top. We had tons of... I'll let you go into this here.
Well, you know what? This was one of the best, classic Chris Parrish, but I got to say that this is probably the best match that I've seen Jack Pride do. I've seen him do some very good matches. He was at the top of his game tonight, and it was only by a devastating maneuver did he not walk away with the belt. The chance of the belt.
The chance of the belt, and let's face it, when you give an opportunity like that to Chris Parrish, you might as well just say the belt right now, because he gets to pick his time and spot where he wants to have that title shot. So I do believe it's not a Money in the Bank scenario where he gets to cash it in automatically. He does have to announce when.
Oh, I don't know. The commissioner was talking in the back to me that he could cash it in any time.
All right, fair.
And during an interview that I had with him afterwards, he actually talked about cashing it in after the main event tonight while both guys were laying out cold, as he thought they would be, and taking the belt from the ashes here. So I'm not sure how dangerous that situation is, giving Chris Parrish that kind of opening.
Folks, this is just living proof that you have to check out this month in Alberta Wrestling CWC edition, as long as the files get to me real soon.
Oh, they'll get to you this soon.
Hopefully that's going to be coming out later on this week here. T. James Logan and Commissioner Bob Gordon sat down and talked about
Boys, once again, so excited to have the Canada Cup back in my hands.
Dude, that was last year.
That was last year.
It's okay, champ. I think you got a big lump on your head, put some ice on it. It'll all come out tomorrow.
Wait, what happened after I got the belt?
Johnny Kickass jumped you.
Johnny Kickass hugged you, called the stud stable out, and the stud stable jumped you.
Okay, let this be the first time that I'm going to say this. It's going to be a long night.
The poor champ. He is really hurting here.
Yeah.
We'll get to the end. What happened soon?
Well, we're going to have an instant replay of an instant replay at this pace. So let's get
this. Is Groundhog Day going on. Yeah. Psycho Saraya. Let's go into that match.
We went to the intermission, and following intermission, you had Psycho Saraya and Angelica. Now, we've seen this match happen numerous times.
You've seen it. This is, for me, the first match.
Yeah, well, fans of the Edmonton SPN have seen it many times.
I'm a fan of the Edmonton SPN.
Well, you got to see it a few more times, I guess.
Okay.
But I will have to say that between these two, this is probably the best match I've seen between these two in a given position here. These two knew how to work a little bit different psychology than what you've seen in some other matches. This wasn't necessarily a 50-50 match like they've been trying to play off in other matches. This one here, Angelica took control because she's the bigger woman in this match.
Well, you know what? I talked to the commissioner about it. We described the match too. This Saraya is like picking up a bag full of angry cats. Okay, I mean, she was all over the place, dangerous. Got to watch out for her. Angelica controlled the pace of the match. At any given moment, she could have slipped up and lost it. Props to her, because I've only seen Angelica a couple times. I've only seen Saraya a couple times. They were both great tonight. I was very impressed, and I see nothing but bright futures for both ladies, but definitely tonight it was Angelica's night. She did definitely use her size advantage and her power advantage to take the win.
And she finished it off with an eat defeat, which once that hit, the jaw almost looked like it was dislocated there. And she got an easy 1-2-3 cover there for the win.
Do you know how crazy that kick was? Her hair was standing straight up when she stood up. I could have swore Saraya's hair was standing straight up.
Wah, wah.
Oh, wait.
All right, folks, sorry, we're jumping around here a little bit. The people are trying to, infiltrate these ranks here. So
everyone wants to work for the ESPN.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they got a bunch of layoffs, but that's a different story here. We got the main event. Tables, ladders, and chairs.
It was.
I'm going to say, oh my.
Oh, he did throw it out there.
Johnny Kickass, Jude Dawkins for the title. I'm going to say one thing about this crowd. This generally is a crowd that isn't used to this kind of match in general. So I think a lot of them were in awe for the early parts of this match. They didn't know what exactly was going on, what some of the spots that were happening. They were just, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is happening.
Yes, One thing I want to throw out there, though, there was a small incident. We're not going to overplay it.
Where
jumping.
Okay, well,
Sorry.
you're going to go with that one.
Yeah, I would just like to say that fans, you come to these matches, we talk about how fun this is. We don't even try and enter into the area of the scored circle. We do not jump over the railings. You do. You take the chance of being ejected. You take the chance of getting hit by a wrestler, and you bring that crap on yourself. You do not do that.
Folks, I normally don't swear in these podcasts, but I'm going to throw one now.
Throw it out.
During the hockey playoffs, I'm allowed to, I
Okay.
guess. That's the rule we got. Folks, you jump the guardrail, most wrestlers are going to beat the living out of you.
And you deserve it. You deserve it.
And then you're going to get thrown out, and in many places you're going to get fined, or even worse.
But nothing's going to happen to the wrestler who did that to you.
And the only other thing I'm going to mention here is the other incident that we had, and this is how violent this match got. Halfway through the match, Johnny Kickass has a chair, and he goes to plow it into the knee of Jude Dawkins. Now, I don't know what kind of knee Jude has.
Apparently very strong.
He must have a kryptonite knee or something, but that chair shattered over the knee of Jude Dawkins, and a piece of it flew into the crowd. Now, the member of the crowd gave it back to the CWC staff. Personally, I would have kept it, got it signed, and sold it on eBay for $1,000.
I would have showed it to my lawyer. No. Mike the Ref, I do have a theory of why this chair might not have been the best. I have noticed that Johnny Kickass has not won a lot of victories in the last while. I'm figuring maybe his paychecks have not been as big, so he's been buying discount chairs and painting them. And that's the only reason that chair shattered the way it was, that maybe if Mr. Kickass could get in a couple more victories, maybe he could buy better quality chairs.
Yeah, his last victory was a controversial one over Dylan Stone, so I don't think he got a full payday out of it. So.
They are tough on the CWC about the way you conduct yourself.
But in the end, the way it finished up is both guys were on the top of the ladder, going back and forth, and all of a sudden, Jude shoves Johnny off the ladder into a table, and he must have folded into 14 pieces.
It was something to see. It was pretty spectacular.
Trust me, folks, CWC Evolution is going to be something worthwhile seeing. And then Jude Dawkins manages to get his belt and retain his champ.
Couldn't be happier, guys. $10,000 richer. Cash in that bounty on that damn cheetah bear, Jude Dawkins.
No.
You're the cheetah bear.
You can't cash in on yourself.
What happened after I got the title?
Johnny Kickass went to shake your hand,
and the
stud stable jumped you from behind, put you through a table, and laid you out.
What kind of night is it going to be tonight, boys?
It's going to be a long one, buddy.
It's going to be a long one.
Man, I feel bad for the champ.
Folks, I have one word, #concussion.
Well, you know what? There were some really spectacular things in that match. I have to say, I'm going to rewatch it when you put up your footage of this match. Folks, check it out. There was some really cool stuff happening here for tables, ladders, and chair match. Exciting. It lived up to it. It wasn't a boring match.
Just a quick shout out right now. I want to thank Pontarella Productions for doing the video for this. I'm going to be editing it and having it up as part of CWC Evolution. The first half of this show should be up in about a week and a half, with the women's match and the main event being up in approximately 2 weeks following that. So
sounds good. I will check it out.
All right, folks, time for our highlights of the night here. And, of course, as always, I let the guests go first here. Legend T. James Logan, your thoughts?
Well, you know what? Highlight of the night for me, just something spectacular to see. I'm sorry it happened to the champ, but during his match, Johnny Kickass set up a ladder and then ran into it with a chair repeatedly into Jude Dawkins. And Jude took a lot of beatings with a ladder tonight, and that was pretty cool to see. Sorry, Jude. Sorry, champ, but it was cool to see.
A lot of innovation with the ladder, a lot of stuff that you haven't seen before in a match, and it's definitely worth seeing. My highlight, and I know a lot of people say I lean towards these matches, but honestly, this is the best match I've seen between Angelica and Psycho Saraya since they've started feuding with each other here.
It was a tremendously good match, Mike. Good pick.
Absolutely. But then the surprise of the night. I think we both agreed on this one. Parrish tossing Austin out of the match on his own accord, and winning clean.
Wow. You know what? Chris Parrish, he maybe have a giant ego, but you know what? You kind of showed you deserved it a bit tonight.
But speaking of egos, following the main event, I guess we're going to have to get to that here. We'll wrap it up with that. After the match, the Cheetah Bear ends up getting attacked, as you've heard numerous times already, by the stud stable following a feigned handshake by Johnny Kickass. The members of the CWC locker room come back for the save, and Commissioner Bob Gordon authorizes a match for next month. 3-on-3 elimination match, CWC versus Stud Stable, winner take the company, winner take control.
That is like some pretty big stakes, and I got to tell you, I'm clearing my schedule. I am going to have to come down and see this. June
10th, folks, at the Abbey Center. Once again, it is going to be a phenomenal matchup. I wonder which each team is going to pick here.
I don't know. Maybe they'll release it over the weeks to come. I don't know how they'll do it, but it's going to be exciting, and I hope the Stud Stable doesn't take control, because these guys have caused so much problems, and you know what? The CWC is trying to build itself as a great, credible company, and to have these jerks come in and just run roughshod, I'd hate to let them off the leash and let them do what they want.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is I don't want the Stud Stable to be in charge going into the Summer Clash on August 12th. And that was the other big announcement tonight, where they announced that the main event is going to be Jude Dawkins taking on Davey Boy Smith Jr., British Bulldog Jr. That's going to be a fantastic matchup between those two.
And I got to tell you, they mentioned a bunch of things of people they're bringing in. A team I've always wanted to see live, the Flatliners from Eastern Canada. They'll be coming in. You've seen them on The Amazing Race last year, and I'm very excited to see them.
Absolutely. It's going to be a fantastic show. Details on that, I'll try and get those out on the Edmonton SPN Facebook page, Twitter, all that, as information is being released. So make sure you check them out on Twitter. I've been forwarding their stuff on here constantly, so just keep track of us. But I think we've yapped long enough here, and we're hitting our usual 20 to 25 minutes, which is pretty good.
There's a janitor with a broom running over at us right now, so I think we should head to the exit.
Is that a janitor, or is that... Never mind. I was going to talk about, transmissions and drives and that.
Oh, my.
Never mind. Legend, T. James Logan, I want to thank you for joining me here for this episode.
Always a pleasure. Hey, I sound just like Brian right now, don't I? You know what? It is a pleasure. It's good to see you, Mike, and hopefully we'll see each other some more down the road and do some more shows and hear for all across the Edmonton Sports Podcast Network, all the kind of things going on in wrestling across Alberta.
Absolutely, and our next Quick Call show is going to be coming up on the 27th of May from the PWA show in Edmonton. But also tonight there are two other Quick Calls that are coming up from this weekend. The Wrestling Mind Brian Hamilton and Andre C. covered last night's RCW show, the 14th anniversary show from the Lorelei Bulmeris Hall in Edmonton. Folks, I'll throw my 2 cents in at the end of that podcast. It's turning into a gong show very quickly that I got to try and piece together.
And is anyone covering Calgary tonight?
I do believe we have video coverage of that show, but there's only so much of the owner I can deal with right now, so I'm taking a little break. I'm on a little scouting trip right now.
I'll try and see if I can find somebody willing to do a Quick Calls and send you for tomorrow's episode.
Yeah, it's RCW is here in the Abbey Center tomorrow. But also, the Wrestling Mind Brian Hamilton and Andre C. are at the PWA Fallout show in Onaway tonight. So they will be doing a review for that, and we're going to have a lot of stuff coming up on the network.
Content. That's what you want.
And then also you have the Sounds of Struggle with Parrish and Maniac, as well as Jobbing Out with the Danimal Daniel Jobber covering WWE Cruiserweights on Raw and 205 Live. So we have a lot of stuff on our network. As you can hear Parrish in the background. I'm cutting this off now. So, folks, it's been a pleasure. Oh, God. Now we got Martin's here. I never mind. I see somebody coming. I got to cut this off quick. So just remember, folks, if you're going to make a good call, make a quick call. And this has been Quick Calls from the Abbey Master Builder Center in Blackfalds, Alberta, covering CWC Tables, Ladders, and Chairs Canada Cup on the Edmonton Sports Podcast Network.
This has been Quick Calls with Mike the Ref on the Edmonton Sports Podcast Network. Contact us on Facebook or check out edmontonspn.podbean.com. TLCSports.com.